Thank you everyone for coming today. My name is Antoinette Gajero. I'm with Open Circle Families United for Justice. And we are here today with Ms. Gilda Baker, the mother of Diallo Neal, who was killed by a hit and run by a CH motorcycle officer on October 10th, 2011. I'm sorry, 2005. Today, October 11th, is his birthday. So he was killed the day before his birthday. We have speaking today Ms. Baker. After that, we'll have Ms. Star Rowlands, who is Diallo's partner of 14 years. We will have Ralph Hernandez speak, who is the private investigator who conducted a thorough investigation of this incident. And if they're up for it, we have Diallo's children here today, too. All right, so Ms. Baker.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
My name is Gilda. I want to thank every one of you for coming out and supporting me. Not only me, but all of our children. You know, it's been so many losses due to law enforcement, corruption, cover up. You know, all the language surrounding who they've become, and from what I'm understanding, have always been, but cameras have revealed exactly what's going on. My son, Diallo, and I'd like to just walk over and show that this is a portrait of him that was created in 2005. His fiancee, wife, life partner, Star, had it created in his image after his death. His death brought trauma to our family. Diallo left my home riding his motorcycle. He loved vehicles, whether it was a car, a motorcycle. Even as a kid, he loved riding bicycles. But he left my home on October 10th, 2005 to celebrate his birthday with his friend, who was also riding a motorcycle, a Harley. Well, in 2005, there were no cameras. People didn't have camera phones. If they did, they weren't prevalent. They weren't being used like they are today. So when someone came to my home, well, first of all, Highland Hospital called me to say that my son had been brought in trauma. Trauma has taken on a new meaning for me because I had no idea he had died already. So when I got to the hospital, they put us in a room, the family. Of course, I called everyone and we met up at the hospital. They put us in a room without saying anything, just that he had been in a vehicle accident, a motorcycle accident. So as we waited, we had no idea. We're just thinking, you know, when the doctor walked in, I just said, well, I jumped up, I said, how's he doing? And when he said that Diallo didn't make it, I lost it, we all lost it. We didn't think to ask questions. We didn't know to ask questions. We feel that they should have been telling us. There should have been law enforcement at that time telling us what happened to my son, but there wasn't. So when we left that hospital, we left thinking, where is his friend? And that's what law enforcement started to do immediately, spin the investigation towards his friend. However, witnesses came to my home, or someone came to my home saying witnesses saw what happened, and that an attorney had been hired, or had been called. So the next day or so, I got in touch with that attorney and thought I had a case to get, you know, justice for my son. But when the attorney didn't take it, I immediately thought, oh, law enforcement couldn't be involved. And that attorney never told me anything, just that they wouldn't take the case. However, the fortunate part in it is that a private investigator, Mr. Ralph Hernandez, and I appreciate him so much because he did conduct an investigation that revealed witnesses' statements, footage of my son's motorcycle. But because of the kind of trauma I was in, I had no idea what to do, who to do it with. And so I went away because law enforcement said they weren't involved. I came to this very office in 2005 and asked them what witnesses told me had happened. And when they told me they weren't involved, I believed them because I had no frame of reference to not believe them. I was raised to trust law enforcement. I had, of course, had experiences or saw things that they did, but there was nothing that prepared me for them killing my son. Because why? It made more sense to me that it was an accident involving his friend, or he had crashed his bike. And these bastards They know this. They know how to exploit our ignorance. And when I say ignorance, I don't mean that disrespectfully. I say ignorance because we're all ignorant to something. And they knew we were ignorant to what the law. Can somebody take this for me?
Hi, my name is Emma Carmichael, and I am the witness.
One of the witnesses.
I was there when I seen everything. I was there, I seen two motorcycles that was going up my street on MacArthur, going up the hill, and I was out, because my sister just had a stroke, and I was out waiting for my other sister to pick me up. And so I said, I don't understand why this, and then I seen the highway patrol with the boots and stuff and the lights on the motorcycle, and I seen it all. I said, you know, I don't know why he chased them like that down MacArthur. You know, he was on his back wheel, like this is the back wheel, and his back wheel is right here, and it's a curve around like that. So I don't know exactly, but I ran up there as soon as that, but I say about 15 minutes later, her son was there. So I seen it, and I know one thing, Black Lives Matter then, and it matters now. You know, that's all I want to say. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Let me just say that Emma, along with other witnesses, my son died on Coolidge and MacArthur, so that's a business district. There's an ice cream parlor, liquor store, other businesses in that area. A busy street. And so these are strangers to us. I'm sure to my son, I never met Emma before. I called her when I finally realized something was going on with what happened to my son, and filed a pro se claim, civil claim, ignored. And I called her back then, and I think that was in 2010. So I started really fighting in 2010 because a bag of my son's clothing was brought to my home that I ultimately put in my basement. I can't describe to you the level of confusion around something like this. So put the black bag in my basement. But as I got stronger, I realized the attorney never gave me a letter saying exactly why, and I'm not knowing exactly how they're supposed to do things. So anyway, exactly what happened to my son. So this time I emailed him to have a paper trail of what's going on. And they told me to hire another attorney, and I was like, for what? Yeah. So I sat up, went to my basement, got the bag, and there was what I already knew existed was a private investigator report. But again, by me coming to law enforcement and asking them, and they saying, oh no, it must have been the friend. But when I started to read through the paperwork that was in the bag, I knew something was wrong. I started writing to every level of government, from the Department of Justice. I went to Internal Affairs. I went to Citizens Police Review Board. And that's why I'm kind of indifferent to this whole police commission, because I've been through all of this mess. And I wrote to everybody about what was going on, and basically I was ignored. So again, the confusion that repeatedly sets in over what really happened. Was it his friend? Was it law enforcement? My biggest concern in all of this is they make us, the brown and black communities, figure out what's going on when a crime has been committed, and we should not be investigating our sons and daughters' deaths.
That's right.
They are law enforcement, and I think law needs to be removed from their title, because nothing about what they do is lawful. They are breaking the law every day when they keep this lie going about what happened to my son.
That's right.
The other thing is, by my son dying on a city street because he left the freeway, him and his friend, being chased by a California Highway Patrol, this is what I'm told.
Yes.
They split up, and the Highway Patrol followed Diallo, ultimately killing him.
He did.
But CHP was not supposed to conduct the investigation. However, and this is from writing, me as his mother, writing to all levels of government and finding out anything that I'm telling you today. I did not know before. I was written back by the California Highway Patrol as well as the Department of Justice saying the California Highway Patrol is not supposed to investigate city crime. So the fact that they conducted an investigation points directly to them. The fact that I have a document showing that his motorcycle was intact, although they show in their report and say in their report that my son's motorcycle was totaled out. Please show the picture of the motorcycle. There was nothing wrong with it. They didn't know that a private investigator had taken footage of that motorcycle. So their lies run deep. Their lies run deep. But I stand here today not only for Diallo, I stand for all of these children. Every last one of them, because I want them to know, fight for your rights, fight for your dignity. We matter. You matter to me, and that's why I'm here today. And I know I'm leaving a lot out, but I'm full. I want to thank you, Emma. You are a friend to me for
that's
life.
What I seen. That's the truth.
Yes,
It's
I
the truth.
appreciate you.
When I seen
Thank
that,
you.
ain't nobody gonna change it. You're not gonna change it. That's what I see.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. And now we'll have Ms. Rollins.
Hi, I'm Star Rollins, the fiance of Diallo Neal. We was together for 14 years. It's hard. It's still like yesterday.
Yeah, take your time, baby. There you go. Take your time, baby. Take your time.
I'm hurt. It's been 11 years, but it's like it was yesterday. All these years I've been confused. Life just have forever changed for me and my kids. Me and Diallo set out with this dream to raise our kids, provide. And it was just taken away. They left us with confusion. They left us with pain. My daughter at the time was 8. At the time, my son was 13. Diallo meant the world to Lord Diallo. Lord Diallo was left out here unprotected because October 10th, they chose to take his life and lie. And we struggled emotionally. We stuck together as a family. And we did what we set out to do. Stay strong, stay focused. But along the way, we missed our other half.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about our kids graduating. We talked about our kids going into another phase of life. Now we have a granddaughter. He's not here. We talked about this. So every phase that these kids go through, I think about what we set out as parents. And it's like y'all left us out here. We trusted you guys. And you guys just left us just confused. Like I said, it's like it just happened. I'm shaking because I have a son. And I'm just, every day, I pray for him. Because it's like if that can happen to his dad, what can happen to him? My daughter pushed hard every day. She's a 4.0 student in college, work.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
She pushed every day for her dad.
Yes.
Every day. But she had her days. Her dad was big on education. Education was extremely important. She don't have that protector. She don't have that guider. That was just taken from her. I'm angry. And I get up every day as I'm normal, but I'm angry. And then I hear and see other people going through the things that we experience. It's hurtful to feel like you can trust the law. And you can't.
It's okay. Take your time, baby. Take your time.
What are we supposed to do? Where are we supposed to go? This is what we have to do. We can't get our family members back. And we gotta every day know these people, the law, killed our family. And we gotta rally. We gotta write letters. It's not fair. It doesn't feel good. These people, Diallo was a father. Diallo was a son. Diallo was a brother. He was somebody. The community loved Diallo. He was loved. And it was just taken away like it was nothing. Nothing. Just left us with just all this pain and hurt and suffering. But we're going to continue to fight. We're going to stand strong. And we're going to get justice. That's what he would do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rollins. And now we'll hear from Mr. Ralph Hernandez.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ralph Hernandez. I have my own private investigation business, and I've been doing this since January of 2004. I have worked for approximately 15 to 20 law offices, different attorneys, and prior to that, I was a police officer. I worked 33 and a half years as a police officer. I was a supervisor, watch commander, acting capacity, as a chief, as a lieutenant, college educated, Sac State. I got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I worked a total of about 75,000 hours in public safety cases, in law enforcement cases. That's 50 plus years that I've been doing these kind of investigations. Now, I was hired by the John Burroughs Law Office to look into the case of Diallo Neal's untimely death. I had been working for John Burroughs but a short time then, but I continued to work for John Burroughs. I did the Oscar Grant investigation. I did. The James Rivera Jr. case out in Stockton. Many other cases. In some cases, a few, I did find that the officers were not at fault. That the person that they killed, one way or another, that the person is the one who caused it to occur on himself. But many cases I have found where officers have been involved and officers were the responsible. In the case of Diallo Neal, and one other case that the family is here, Petey Perez in Richmond, I investigated that case also, and I found fault with the officer and his actions which were contrary to what the public was told. You know, in many of these cases, you have a responsible officer or officers, but it's not the police in general that are responsible. You have a lot of good officers out there. I fully support good, qualified, honest, and decent officers, and I think we all should. But those few, which are in certain agencies that are wrong, they should be looked at, they should be investigated, they should be prosecuted.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I firmly believe that, and over the years in the Diallo Neal case, in my discussions with Gilda in particular, I have consistently said that there are two aspects to Diallo's case, as in other cases. There is the civil aspect, and there is the criminal aspect. They have unfairly put Gilda off all these years in the civil aspect of it.
Yes.
So I talked to her and I said, put that aside in the meantime. Focus on the criminal aspect. this case deserves,
Yes.
as the other cases do also. The P.D. Perez case also, the Rivera case also. They deserve a criminal investigation.
That's right.
And if they find what I found to be true, the officer should be prosecuted, criminally prosecuted. There is
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I believe so.
There is no statute of limitations for a homicide, whether you're a private citizen or an officer of the law. Now, government works for we the people. Doesn't matter who we are. Doesn't matter our race, our culture, our beliefs, our opinions. They are our employees. They are the people's employees. Now, we the people are the bosses. And I'm also their boss, whether they like it or not.
That's right.
I like being their boss because I am the kind of person that I'm very outspoken. I don't take sides. If an officer was justified, I say the officer was justified. If he was wrong, I say the officer was wrong. Getting back to it, some of the things that you need to do is you need to constantly be visual about these cases. You constantly have to go to all these agencies and stress that not only are you talking about civil liability, but you're talking in particular criminal liability. And they have a duty and responsibility to not put you off. Gilda's case, the Diallo Neal case, is horrendous. It's shameful.
Yes, it is.
The people should lose their jobs. They should lose their positions because they are not doing what they swore to do. When I became an officer, I took an oath of office, and that oath included protecting people's rights, their constitutional rights, protecting their safety, not saying I'm only going to stick up for the police because I'm an officer. It doesn't exist. So, on Diallo's case, I did an extensive investigation, as I've done in the other cases that I mentioned, and I made certain determinations and conclusions. I can't go into the specifics because in the event you have some criminal prosecution, they would want that information beforehand. I'm not going to give it to them beforehand.
That's right.
But what I determined was, based upon the witness statements and the physical evidence and the crime scene that I saw, was that Diallo was possibly speeding down the roadway, being chased by a police officer on a motorcycle. That, based upon the witnesses' statements, and there are many witnesses, based on their statements, there was an officer on a motorcycle. Based on what they told me, the officer and or his motorcycle made contact with Diallo's motorcycle, which caused him to deviate from the roadway and crash, and ultimately pass away. Now, the witnesses I spoke to were not all in a bunch. You know, we're all a bunch right here. But even as a bunch, when we see something happen, there will be certain things that will be different, that some of us will see and remember, and other things other people may say, well, wait a minute, that color was orange, or that color was red. And you're going to have two differences. But they did see things. And there were certain things that the people saw and heard out there that are very consistent. Now, the people were not bunched up, the witnesses. We had people a quarter mile away, like Emma, you were out there. A quarter mile saw them coming down the street, Diallo being chased by an officer on a motorcycle. You had another group that were about a quarter mile away in a small shopping center. They saw certain things. You had certain people across the street. Some waiting for the bus, some people in their residence. They saw certain things. And then you had a vehicle containing some witnesses who also saw the officer on the motorcycle flee the scene when Diallo was there already in his death throes. So, does this case warrant a proper and thorough and complete investigation? My answer is hell yes. Okay? what the people need to do is, you don't need to riot, you don't need to vandalize. What you need to do is go to all these governmental agencies in person, and you need to constantly press them to do what they were hired to do. If they're not going to do their job, then they should get the hell out and be replaced by somebody that will. They are being paid by tax dollars. They're being paid by we, the public. But I say this again. Let's not have any rioting. Let's not have any damage to property. Let's support our good law enforcement agencies and their good officers. Let's press for those bad officers and those that were responsible to be investigated thoroughly, completely, and prosecuted if the evidence and the information is accurate. In Diallo's case, in James Rivera case, in P.D. Perez case, it's there. You need a criminal investigation on each and every one of those cases. Now, you're looking at a person who was a law enforcement officer. I supervise investigation units. I know what I'm speaking of. I've got the experience and the background in homicide investigations. But I'll give you a personal piece of information about me. Early on in my career, I encountered somebody with a handgun. This was my school friend. We used to go to the Boys and Girls Club together. He used to come to my house. I used to go to his house. This was a black male, my schoolie. He came back from Vietnam on drugs. He shot me. I did go to the hospital. I almost lost my life. Now, did I go out and seek other black males or black persons to retaliate? No. It's one person that did it and one person only. And I stress this to you because when you have an incident like Diallo's case and P.D. Perez's case and James Rivera's case, only those responsible should be focused on. Businesses were not responsible. The common public were not responsible. Their vehicles, their property was not responsible. We have to hold those responsible accountable. Okay? With that, Gilda has been a wonderful person. She has a tremendous strength, and as well as the family, in trying to get justice, as the other families are also. You just have to press for justice. You have to do it in the right way, so they don't point more fingers at you and say, "Hey, look, that's Black Lives Matter. Hey, look, that's this particular group or that particular group." We all matter. We all matter. Okay? You all matter. Period. We don't have to separate ourselves because we all part of this world, part of our community. So press the government. Let's look into these cases. Let's conduct a thorough criminal investigation.
I'd really like to point out that when I said I wrote to every level of government, that includes the district attorney. I was told I was not able to bring a criminal case to the district attorney, that comes through law enforcement. That never happened, and that's what prompted me to write to them, as I said, in every other level of government, and then ignored. I want to also stress the fact that the officer that hit my son fled the scene, so there's a daily crime happening every single day that they keep perpetrating this lie. But I've written to everyone. I've gone to I went to the grand jury. Y'all, I've been writing, I've been begging. The light bulb came on for me at some point, and I said, people don't give a darn about you. But it took me years to realize it, because everything in my experience said, law enforcement are the people you go to.
Thank you, Gilda. As we can see, law enforcement and the justice system have both failed Diallo Neal in life and death. There is no statute of limitations on murder. And it is important to note that it's not just the officer who struck Diallo's motorcycle and killed him that is responsible. It is all those, whether it is legal entities, or individuals. It is all those who cover up and continue to cover up this crime.
Yes.
We need to hold them all accountable.
All of them, not some, but all.
Therefore, we demand that CHP accept responsibility for their role in causing the death of Diallo Neal. We demand that that they release the name of the officer who killed Diallo, and that they hold this murderer accountable for his crime. Additionally, I think it is very important that we hold these other agencies accountable. Today is just the first of many actions. Today we wish to bring public awareness to what's going on, to this cover-up of the death of Diallo Neal. Rest assured, we will be writing more letters. We will be filing court orders. We will do whatever it takes to get justice for Diallo Neal. And if we don't get it, what do we do?
Shut it down.
That's right. So we'll take to the steps of CHP. We'll take to the steps of City Hall, of Oakland Police Department. We will do whatever it takes to get justice for Diallo Neal. Say his name with me, Diallo Neal. Thank you. This concludes the press conference segment of today's event. We have numerous families who've also been directly impacted by police misconduct, who've lost their loved ones, whose loved ones have been maimed by police canine. So please stay with us as they tell their stories in the rally segment of our event today. Thank you for coming.
Everyone take notice of the sign up there and what it says.
Enhancing public trust every day? Yeah, that is debatable. All right, and to kick off our rally, we would like to invite Dion Smith, who is the mother of James Earl Rivera. Dion.
What we want?
Justice!
Where we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
Where we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
Thank you. Yes, like she said, I am Dion Smith. I'm the mother of James Earl Rivera, who was killed by 3 Stockton police, 2 Stockton police, and the sheriff. They shot at my son 48 rounds, 18 hit struck. I've been out here 7 years, which make it this year 7 years I've been fighting for justice for my son. And this is my son right here. This is what I remember he looked like, but this is what I had to go identify. You know, and this is what I tell families. Sorry. This is what I have to go to the mark to see. I have to go see my baby stiff and cold. So you tell us the 16 years old, he died a day before his 17th birthday. And you want us to shut up? You want us to go to sleep? You want to pretend he didn't exist? He was a person. He was my son. I carried him 9 months. I felt his first heartbeat. For someone to tell me to get over it. How did you tell someone to get over it? When my kids was 3 years old, when their brother was shot down, my kids are now, look at they're big, they're almost tall as me. And so I've been out here fighting with families all over the globe. Stockton, Sacramento, Fresno, LA, Anaheim, San Francisco, LA, New York, Baltimore. We've just been out there. Special, Anita, even in Ferguson, when Mike Brown was shot, we went in the next day, we flew in, and we shut it down, didn't we? And so, you know, for them to lose our loved one, and like Mr. Neal said, when our babies are being taken, after 3 days, everybody gets silence.
Yes.
Everybody go back to sleep, like nothing never happens. And the family is still wondering why my baby was shot dead, what happened, can I see the report? Because you don't forget, you always penalize him after you kill him. You know, we know for sure when you murder them, they did not commit a crime. They didn't commit a crime after you killed them. And this is what I have been dealing with in Stockton. I live in Stockton, California. My city is still asleep. But I've been knocking on their brain and letting the world know Dion Smith down is not going nowhere. Any police killing in Stockton, as I stand here today with you, I'll be the first person they call, and I'm boots on the ground. I'm not here for no 3-minute news interview. I'm not here for you to say farewell. This is my duty to not just fight for James Rivera, but fight for you. This shit got to stop. This shit is worse than cancer. This is worse than cancer, and we got to start organizing in our community. We know the problem, so I'm not trying to bash our community down, because we do know the problem. But what we need to do is put our boots on and let's start working. Because ain't nobody gonna give me and you nothing. Because the education that I found, I didn't know I had it. I didn't know I had this voice. And for every time I step out to see families, like this family right here, Rhoda Baker, I met her in San Francisco. And to see, she's been fighting them many years for her son. And no one even knew her cry. No one knew her pain. You know, it's bad enough when they kill our babies, and at the hospital, they don't even give them a name. Our babies don't have a name. They call John Doe. And that's just a slap in the face that your baby to be called John Doe. And you know, when you bring a baby in the world, our first thing is like, what am I name him? Is he going to be a junior? He going to be that? But you done strip him. You done strip him with the media. Then you turn around and strip him on his death.
Oh my God.
And he's sitting in a bag. He's sitting in a bag with John Doe. So you tell me you think I'm going to give up on this fight? Hell no. Do you understand? Hell no. I'm going to continue to fight, and I'm going to continue to stand. And I want to thank y'all for coming out here supporting us. We are the voices that no one heard, but we are fighters, boots on the ground. When we ain't going nowhere, like I said, if we don't get it, we're going to shut it down. If we don't get it, we're going to shut it down. If we don't get it, no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. And thank y'all. And also I want to thank you as well, sir. Yes. Because you gave me that spark when you came out for James Rivera, and I have not went back. Because I didn't know that I had a voice, but I got it now. That's right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dion Smith. Next we have Dolores Piper, who's going to talk about her grandnephew, Derek Gaines.
Thank you so much for everybody coming out today. This is so wonderful. My great-nephew Derek was killed 4 years ago in South San Francisco by a cop. And Derek made the mistake of taking off and running away, and then it escalated into a deadly encounter. I was like Gilda. It takes so long to process the grief. So you just kind of, you don't know where you are. You're in some kind of limbo. And it took me at least a couple of years. And then I began to start reaching out to people like Anita and people that have been in this fight for so many years. And I finally got my voice. And I feel so much stronger because I'm fighting with women like you, like Dion, like Anita, so many women. And I realized what horrible forces are out there against our children. I had no idea that I was going to bring this biracial nephew of mine to a largely white community, and he was going to be safe. It was going to be, you know, really nice for him there. And they're the people who killed him. And every day, in fact, as recent as just this last week, I have to have a conversation with a neighbor across the street a neighbor who had him in her home for dinners and all that, and she is justifying cops to me. And I have to stand there and listen to this crap. And this is what I'm up against in these white communities. You know, I read this quote by Malcolm X. You got to wake up the people first if you're going to get them to change. And that's what Dion says. You got to wake up these people. They're, you know, someday they may come up against this, and nobody's exempt. But black and brown get it the worst. So I think this beautiful family that has survived this, I mean, this is so good. They lost a male, strong male character in their lives, their father. That is so hard at those ages, to lose a dad. And they have stayed strong, and I wish them all the luck in the world that as they go forward, no more grief. And hopefully this gentleman today who indicated so strongly that the help that he wants to see, I know it will happen for Gilda now. I thank you. Derek was, Gilda said, tell us how old Derek was. He was 15. And it was 3 days before my 70th birthday. And my birthday's been yucky ever since, because his death now is tied in with my birthday every year. So it was quite an ordeal. And every day I drive by that gas station where he was gunned down in the middle of all these people, pumping gas, busy, 8 o'clock at night. And of course, people were pumping gas. They weren't taking videos. And that's the sad, sad part of this. But every day I must pass that station 3 or 4 times a day and know that he died right there, 5 minutes from home. Thank you.
Thank you. We love you. Yes. Love you.
Thank you, Dolores. One more point. Oh, and this is Derek's brother, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Just one more point of detail on the death of Derek Gaines. He was shot point blank in the neck by this officer.
15.
At 15. Next up, we'd like to introduce Perez. Rick and Julie Perez are the parents of P.D. Perez. Rick?
Yeah, hi everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm listening to Dolores talk about her nephew going to a nice white neighborhood, and you know, we had the same thoughts in our head about our son being you know, a white in the black neighborhood. So he, you know, we always told him, you know, watch out what you say to people. You don't know who's packing down there. We're thinking of the thugs in the neighborhood. Never in a million years did we think we'd have to warn him about the police down there. And, you know, and we all have that common story here about the police misrepresenting the facts and making themselves look, you know, real good, and demonizing our, you know, my son and everyone else. All the things they said on the day they shot my son to the newspaper all proved to be wrong. Every one of our witnesses were consistent, saying that my son did not do what the officer said. The only one that said what the officer said was the officer, and he gets all that backing from the legal people, the district attorney, the chief of police, you know, everybody we look up to. We respect for the trust that sign says behind us. There's no trust there. There's no accountability. There's no. They just keep on, and like the common denominator in all our stories is the same thing. They're not held accountable. They do what they do because all they have to do is say they feared for their life, and it's justified. And the cop that stopped my son had already frisked my son and knew he was unarmed. And to do what he did, even his fellow officers come up and talk to me about it, saying how he shouldn't have done that. He was a loose cannon, and if anyone was going to put a blemish on the city of Richmond's record, it was going to be him. They all knew this. He was recommended for non-hire 3 different times. He's sent back to the academy several times, like 4 or 5 times. And what we're understanding now is he was hired because of some nepotism going on. He knew somebody, and he was high up, and he got pushed through. So now we have, they changed the chief of polices. We think Chris Magnus, the chief at the time, got out of town because he knew things were wrong, and the city hails him as a good chief and stuff, and nobody wants to own up to these, these lies. And like I said, we all have the same common denominator. The cops just keep on saying the same kind of lies. So,
same lies.
So I'm, there's a lot of us in here that are in the same club, and a lot of you guys that don't need to be here are joining our club, and we appreciate that. It's a horrible way to meet all these people, but all these people are lovely, and I appreciate all you guys' support, and we got to change the way these police are, hold them accountable, and so we can trust them. We know there's good ones, and they know there's bad ones, so we need to, there doesn't need to be no bad ones. We all
get them out.
Yeah, like I was saying about my son, everything they said about him, it didn't add up to his character. We knew that, and then now we're here talking about the police. Everything, all of us have the same story. Everything we say, we don't want to believe that, but it's the truth. They keep on covering up and misleading us and not owning up to what there should be. So, I could talk forever, and I always do, so I'll let it go.
Thank you. All right, next we're going to have Cindy Mitchell, the sister of Mario Romero.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Cindy Mitchell. I'm the sister of Mario Romero. My brother, he was murdered by Vallejo police on September 2nd, 2012. He was unarmed, he was unwanted, but he was murdered. He was murdered by Vallejo police. He was fired at 40 times. He was shot 30 times. He was murdered in front of his home. Police created a lie. They created an altercation that never happened. They created a scenario to try to justify him. It's the same story that you repeatedly hear when it comes to someone being murdered by police. They demonize you. They try to make it seem like you were a bad person and that they removed the monster off the street. It's the police who get the last say-so. My brother